I'm Helen Addison-Smith. The title of my work is Forgive Me. Me and my partner in Sister Connectivity built a completely anonymous online confessional. I thought I would give people an opportunity to tell me their darkest sins in absolute anonymity. I was thinking about the loss of organised religion, where you have a confessional where you can tell people your sins in complete anonymity. That, in combination with the history of the convent as a house for wayward girls and part of their treatment, was to work in the laundries every day. I guess the phrase that first came to me was hanging your dirty laundry out in public. So the idea of laundry and sins came together, and that's why there's a line of washing out there.
My name is Lyndal Walker, and I'm presenting a project called The Story is Lost. I've always been interested in the convent, and I realised I had a sort of quite sensational and morbid impression of the place, and my research has made me feel like I have a more realistic understanding of what went on here, although central to my work is the idea that you can't really know what went on. And I was really interested in the fact that the women who were washing clothes here were washing other people's clothes, but they weren't allowed to use mirrors or express themselves through the way that they looked. And so this sense of identity and expressing their identity was really, really curtailed. And that was really my interest and the reason that I used the mirrors. I like work that tries to bring stories back into history and to give voice to people who didn't have a voice. But with this history, what really struck me was that the women, their stories are lost and aspects of their lives were lost, not just in terms of the time that they were here, but also aspects of self-expression that they could never really get back.
My name is Kirsty Hulm, and the work I have installed is called Mountain Song. I developed it for the Spiritous Award because they asked for pieces which reflect the history of the site, and I'm really interested in the Magdalene asylum that was here. So my work is kind of a commentary on that, on how we can encourage people to be more aware of the cause and effect, the relationship that they can have with others. So I thought that was a really pertinent thing to get across on this particular site. I work with neon a lot. I think that it's really strong. It obviously really grabs people's attention, and if you want to say something really powerfully, I think it really gets it across quite well, especially against backdrops of like quite big austere buildings. That's when I usually show them, and they really stand out as being quite emotive.
My name is Jody Cleaver, and the title of my work for the Spiritous exhibition is Within Out. The work involves etchings and a projection of animated and moving image prints. The work's in reference to mostly the laundries and the daily lives of the girls who inhabited the convent, especially around the Sacred Heart Chapel. It was astonishing what the routine of the girls was. It was just a very strict day broken down into half an hour lots of prayer and work. The medium is a grueling method, and I'll be printing the etchings over a month. It sort of relates to the working laundry life in that way. It's a torturous sort of a way to replicate what their daily life would have involved in a creative way.
I'm Charlie Sublet. I've done an exhibition called Room with a View that's originally came from my noticing just all the amazing views from the the top floor of the main convent buildings, ones which in some way It felt like they contrasted quite heavily with the history of the space that I was in. Yeah, I think I was just thinking about the history of it, thinking about that life of restraint that the nuns had to live, and just wondering about how many of them were really doing that by choice, and how many of them struggled severely with the fact that they were here, and when looking out those windows, how they coped with the knowledge that there was a vastly, vastly different world just outside the windows. On the other hand, there's just some simple beauty in some of the views too. In some ways, it's simply about tension, choice and doubt.
My name is Sissey, I'm Reyes.
My name is Perez.
And the artwork is called the Healer Series, sponsored by the Spiritus Grant by the Abbotsford Convent.
We place healer in the laundries because of the texture of the walls.
The walls at the laundry in the Abbotsford Convent give us a sense of the industrialised era in which Australia, at the beginning of its time, started becoming a first world country. And our artwork is about placing these Mexican women and the magic, the tradition, the culture that they bring within into this context that are contrasting to who they are.
We applied to the Spiritus Grant because we wanted to incorporate elements of Melbourne into this photographic series called Mexley. So the Abbotsford Convent is quite symbolic to this city and to the cultural hub that Melbourne is now understood as. So I think it was really important for us to be part of that and show what we can do as Mexican born that come with all this cultural baggage into an Australian and very symbolic Melbourne setting.
We just loved the space and we thought it was a great place to be able to set our artwork in.
My name is Mott. The project I'm doing here for the Spiritus program's called Historic Spots, and it's comprised of 3 separate site-specific works, and each of them is a circular-shaped garden bed surrounded by a picket fence, and each of them refers to a different period in the history of the site here. One of them refers to the Indigenous land, and the next refers to the time of colonisation, and the third refers to the period of time when the convent was quite a active vegetable garden and self-sufficient food garden. A big part of my practice, I make site-specific work, so I look at the history of the site, and I'm interested in the way land can contain layers of stories. And I suppose this place has got lots of different stories, and one of the first stories, of course, is the Indigenous inhabitants, which is one of the longest stories.